All right, my Overmorians, it is time for some tips and tricks for knitting amigurumi and maybe even crochet in general, but really amigurumi is the focus. So first off, I'm going to show you a few tools that I use that really help me out. Then I'm going to show you how I make a magic circle and how to make invisible decreases. And then I do have a suggestion for a split single crochet, which helps your stitches to not walk. But that was recommended by one of my my yarn group ladies, and I've not actually done that. So I will tell you about it, and in the handout I will give you a link to it, but I haven't used it myself. So some good tools that you should not be without as a crocheter. The first one is a stitch marker. And for crochet, you obviously want the ones that can open and close. For knitting, you have your stitch markers on your needle and you just transfer them to your other needle and it's fine. But for crochet, you're not going to be able to get them out of the stitch if you do that. Therefore, you want these ones that you can open and close, like little safety pins. For amigurumi specifically, if you have an animal, person, whatever kind of amigurumi you have that has a neck or limbs, and you don't want the neck to be all floppy, these curlers are the best. You can get these at the dollar store for practically nothing, or I got this big container full from Amazon. It was on sale at the time for like $10, and it had 42 in there. And I like this because there's all different sizes in here. So if I'm making something small, skinny neck, or bigger, all different sizes of rollers. And these are the rollers. They're foam on the outside and metal on the inside, so you can put them in the neck and then even like pose, or you can even put the skinny ones, depending on how the limbs fit, how long the limbs are, I guess. You can put them in the limbs even and pose them. Or if you have a short neck, you could take one of the small ones, squish it in half, and just use it this way. It's amazing how well these work. For practically nothing. Best use of these rollers. I don't know, when I was younger, I used to try to use these to curl my hair. Never worked well, but for this, that's what they're really for. So, foam rollers with the metal on the inside. I'm guessing if you have a limb, because the foam, you can probably cut, you could probably take, you know, for science, let's do that. For science. I have wire cutters. I'm guessing if you had a limb and it was a shorter limb, you could just cut these. Where'd the other half go? It's on my table somewhere. Oh, here it is. So if you have shorter limbs, you can cut these in half and still insert them in the limbs and then pose, or keep your limbs straight, whatever you want to do. It just has wire on the inside. Now, if you do cut them, be aware that the wire will come out if you pull. But once it's in your amigurumi, I mean, it's not like it's going to come out at that point. And you can just push it back in. Ta-da! I've not used them cut in pieces, but I can see how that would work. I have, for a bigger doll, used 2 of the big foam rollers, and I duct taped them together and then used them to hold the neck for some extra good support. So that's another trick. Let me put these wire cutters back up. into their little container so nobody gets hurt. All right. So the first, you probably thought of stitch markers, but I bet you might not have thought of the rollers. Now everyone uses pellets, or a lot of people use pellets or beans. Some people use pebbles. Whatever you use to put in the bottom of your amigurumi to make it sit, if it's a sittable amigurumi, and most of the time you want a little weight in the bottom so they'll stay put. These are great, but it also often tells you just to put these pellets or whatever you have that you're going to use to weigh your critter down in with the fiberfill that you're stuffing it with. And I don't know about you, but I'm always worried that they're going to fall out because crochet has holes and these little suckers are small. Even if you use like dried beans or something, those are small. And I would imagine eventually those are going to start falling out. So what I do is I get little organza bags from Amazon. This batch has stars and moons on them because I buy whichever batch is cheapest. And I got 100 for like $4. And they're pretty. But anyway, so I put pellets into the organza bag. Like so. Then I pull this shut, and then I tie around, pull it around, and do a surgeon's knot to really keep it tight, really tight. And a surgeon knot is like a slip, like a single knot, but you do it multiple times. Keeps it really clean. So then I have a little bag, and that's what I put in the bottom of my amigurumi. It'll still conform, it'll still sit flat because the organza has holes in it. It's still, you can still shape it the way you want, but you don't have to worry about your pellets falling out. Let's see. Stuffing. When you're stuffing your amigurumi, stuff it until you think you're done, and then stuff it some more. More is always better. Maybe not always. Generally, for stuffing your amigurumi, that the difference in it being well stuffed and floppy makes a huge difference. So make sure you always stuff it plenty. Once you kind of get familiar with amigurumi, and if you're working on a pattern that has a separate head from the body, most of the time it's really easy to figure out how to just crochet them all in one piece. It's easier on you to have it all in one piece. It's easier to stuff. It's easier in that less ends to weave in. You can use the roller trick so your head won't be floppy. You don't have to sew them together. So if you can, make the head, neck, and body one piece. It'll save you so much time once you get that down. Make sure you leave long tails at the beginning and the end of your work so you can use those to you can use them to attach other body parts, maybe some, depending on what you're making, to help with making facial expressions, different things. Just leave a long tail, might come in handy later, and if not, you can just weave it in and be done, and it's not going to hurt you, but it might come in handy to sew things up and make things tidy. All right, so we are at the, let me pull some yarn out and show you what I'm going to show you with just the hands. All right, first to show you how to make a magic circle. So in order to make a magic circle, I have my yarn here. Here's my end down here. I I pull my yarn from the front, and I have it, the length of it right at the tip of my hand here, around one time, and then on the back of my hand, and you can pull it back around and do it on the front of your hand, but for me, for some reason, it works on the back of my hand. You put the crochet hook under both. Actually, maybe I'll take it off my hand. This is really weird to think about it, because normally I do it without thinking about it. So I started here, pull it around. Yes, pinch it with my thumb. Put the crochet hook under both strings. Pull the loose one through and make a loop. I don't know if I would describe this very well. There are really good tutorials on YouTube if I'm not describing this well. Let me do it again. So I have my yarn so that it's at the bottom of my hand. For some reason that seems like a good length for me. Go around my hand, stick my crochet hook underneath both, and then pull it through, make a stitch, just a single stitch. And then what you do is you crochet into the circle. Usually it's like 5 or 6, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then you have 6 stitches. You can count them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this circle. And what you do then is you take this end and you pull, which then gives you a nice little circular start to your project. Now, as we go on, we're going to work in the round, right? And we are going to increase every stitch. But so we make our stitch and we're like, oh, this is the beginning of the round, and we don't want to lose that beginning of the round. So we're going to put a stitch marker in there. Beginning of the round stitch marker. It will save your life, because if you get going and then you don't know where to end the round, then how are you going to know when to make the next row's stitches, you know? So if you're starting in a circle, so when we're increasing, let's say we're making a flat circle right now. So we're going to increase into each stitch, which simply means we're going to crochet 2 single crochets into each stitch in this round. And Tiger says hi because I'm talking and he thinks he's going to miss out on something, right? So all the way around, 2 stitches, and that's an increase. I'm doing the increases so I can show you how to make decreases. All right, increase. Okay. And one more. So we got increases. So see, here we are back again at our little stitch marker, so we know that's the beginning of the round. Makes it easy peasy to learn the beginning. He just decided he needed to scratch me. That's not very nice. That is not very nice, Mr. Tiger. Not nice. So we have our stitches here. Now, to make invisible decreases, which is another trick, invisible decreases, I'm going to take my marker out and I'm going to crochet 1 just because I want to be able to put my marker back in to show you guys. And then to do an invisible decrease. So normally when you crochet, you make a stitch, you go all the way through and have both of the little legs on your hook, and you're going to pull through to make your stitch. When you make an invisible decrease, you're only going to put your hook through the first leg, but you're also going to put your hook through the first leg of the next stitch. And then you're going to crochet, which gives you an invisible decrease. So once again, I hope you can see this. First leg of this stitch, first leg of, oops, the second stitch, pull it through and make your single crochet. Voila! Invisible decreases. One more thing to show you is a color change. So if you see you're making a stitch and let's just say you're ready to change color here. So what you do is you start making your stitch, pull your purple through until you have both of these legs. I don't know what both of those pieces of the stitch. I'm not sure what those are called, to be honest. Until you have them on the needle. And then to start the next color, you pull it through to complete that stitch. Oops. And you want to leave a little tail. So let's see. Let's crochet a couple of stitches here. 1, 2, 3. And see, you have a nice little transition to the beige stitches. Now let's say I'm ready to go back to purple. So then what you do is you go through both legs of the purple, pull the beige through until you have two legs on your hook, and then you go back to your purple and pull your purple through, and then you are once again working with purple, and you have a nice clean stitch. Let me show you what happens if you don't do it this way. So this way you have a nice clean edge, just so you can see. I realize it's a very small sample, but that's how you get them amigurumi clean color changes. If you make a whole stitch, let me figure out where I am here. That goes through here, you go through here. Let's say you are crocheting along and you make your last purple stitch, and now it tells you to change color. And you're like, all right, cool, gonna change color. And then you just start crocheting with the new color. Well, that means that the last leg of your purple is going to show up as the top of your first beige stitch. See? See how instead of this being beige, because we changed our color earlier, it's purple now? And so you end up not having the nice color change. You have a little leg there. It's not the end of the world, but it's a cleaner edge if you change it there and then have that little leg also be beige. Let me show you again. So let's say I'm here on my purple and on my beige, and I'm ready to go back to the purple. And I'm just gonna go and make my next stitch purple without finishing that last section in the purple. See now how I have, now we have a pistachio visitor. All the kitties are coming to say hi. He's quiet though. See, you might actually be able to see it better. See how you have that beige leg over the purple? Whereas if you go through and not finish the stitch up with purple, I mean with beige, gosh, you'd think I would be able to keep those two colors apart. So I have my two legs of beige on the hook and pull my purple through because I'm about to change color. Then if you make the next stitch purple, you get that nice clean edge. No stitch floating around on top. That's the wrong color. See? I know it's small, but I think it shows the stitches. All right, so those are my tiny tips and tricks. If you have questions, give me a holler on Ravelry. I will be happy to help you out. I do have the little handout for tips and tricks, and I will share those with you in August or anytime really. I can email those to you if you come across this later. And I will catch you students later. Bye.